Welcome to our webinar, Surfacing Sales Insights with KnowledgeNet.ai and HubSpot. I'm Doug Wendt. I'm the President and Chief Growth Officer at Wendt Partners. And you are joining us for a session on a really important question, which is how can we better surface sales insights? We're here with Ben Victoria, the Senior Vice President of Sales for KnowledgeNet.ai. This team has created a solution that's designed to make surfacing the right insights extremely easy and extremely powerful wherever you need them. So I'm really excited to dig in. You know, one of the things that I know I struggle with as a HubSpot person and just talking about CRM and sales enablement technology is, you know, how do I solve one particular problem and make my life that much easier without it being a heavy lift? I know that's something that you and the KnowledgeNet team have focused in on. So why don't we start from there? Let's talk about what is a common problem that this idea of surfacing these key insights can solve.
Well, the key thing is helping the HubSpot community with relationship intelligence. Most of the people on the call have your sales teams logging emails within HubSpot, and that's pretty standard that people do that. But to extract from those emails the relationships, that's what we bring to the table, the combination of like HubSpot's world-class enterprise CRM and KnowledgeNet embedded inside of HubSpot or alongside of HubSpot to surface those relationships to have the impact of sales, grow the business faster, sell more deals and bigger deals, build better pipeline, warm introductions. All the things that are heavy pain problems, cold calling and the churn of accounts and salespeople, you know, finding new business, we light the path to warm introductions through your relationships, the relationships that exist inside and outside of HubSpot.
So you brought up a couple of really powerful points, two of which I want to zero in on. One is before CRM technology like HubSpot that was really robust, we were having to assemble our own haystack. Over here were calls, over here are emails, over there are messages, and over here is, you know, LinkedIn data and all that. So now we've created this unified haystack, if you will, this CRM database in HubSpot. Now the challenge is, geez, I've got all this data, I've got all this information. How do I see what's really important for me to know first? And that is a struggle, right? Salespeople can't mysteriously just automatically determine which emails, which relationships, which connections are important, you know, so we have to filter through everything and we try our best. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a technology tool that automates that surfacing of the really most important information. And then the other thing that you brought up is this has to be where you're already working. So I want to make a point for everybody, for our viewers at home, for everybody here, we are talking about technologies that enhance the workflow that you already have. There are not technologies that require you to suddenly create a whole nother workflow. This is all part of one fluid motion. If we could do those two things, if we can automate the surfacing of the right information so that the sales professional doesn't have to go searching for it, and if we can do it within their existing process, now that's a win-win, you know, with a multiplier effect. Particularly if you're dealing with large accounts, you're dealing with, like you said, SDR sourced. You know, that's a holy grail. Why has it historically been so hard to do? So what am I trying to achieve? Why is KnowledgeNet going to provide me with that thing that I need? Why has this been so hard to do until KnowledgeNet came along and solved it?
I think your example that you came up with earlier, that before CRM, there was all these different haystacks. Now they're combined into one, and filtering through that haystack is very difficult and takes time. We want to save all that time, not just for the sales team, but for the whole company, so that they can see what are the relationships that they have with accounts and prospects. Our customers tell us it improves their brand, because now when customer service knows that there's a relationship with that account, they treat them more personalized. So there's a brand impact, there's a sales impact. It's been just hard to filter through all that information. We surface it automatically. It's built into HubSpot.
Right. And I want to say as a preview, before we take a look at the actual application, the thing that really got me was that this is a combination of real-time information and that it is so visual and that I can interact with that visualization. I think one challenge that we all have in the CRM world is that we end up staring most of our day at purely just lists of information, lists of records. And that's not bad. It means it's organized. point is we're visual learners, right? And yet technology to try to manage all this haystack, all this complex information has put us in a situation where we're sort of stuck with non-visual engagement. It's not visual. I mean, it's visual in the sense I'm looking at it, but it's not visually stimulating. There's no, prioritization by way of a design hierarchy outside of the CRM user experience. And, I'm very proud of HubSpot. It's got a great user experience. Clients love it. But this is a whole nother problem we're trying to solve, which is make it something that I can think about rather than having to read. Okay. It should pop out at me if I'm really going to act upon it, if I'm going to engage with it. And you guys have done something amazing with that. So Ben, if you want to go ahead and pop open, I know we're going to do a bit of a live demo here. We're going to talk about the use cases. Feel free and let's dig in.
The goal here is to help drive sales impact. So when I give live demo examples, it's going to be about building pipeline, managing pipeline, closing business, marketing operations, knowledge preservation, and account management to drive sales impact, to grow revenue faster, and close larger deals. We talked about earlier is I think everyone is connecting their emails to HubSpot today. The additional challenges, though, are how do you determine the strength of your relationships with companies and contacts inside of HubSpot? If you hired somebody new, their account representative, you give them a series of accounts, they're going to have to open and expand every one of the emails that have been logged to try to understand what's been the communications and what's the relationship. How do you do this with relationships outside of HubSpot? Some of them are not logged in. If it's not already an account, it sometimes doesn't log. It doesn't go retrospectively and log. And so I'll show some examples related to that. Mm-hmm. How do you leverage your relationships to provide warm introductions? Doug, you talked about looking at lists. Maybe you have an upcoming convention in March. You want your sales team that's going to be there to know who have you already talked to. How do you shorten that cold call that's only 2% effective and make it a 98% effective warm introduction? How do you close more deals and close deals faster? How do you ensure business continuity with all the recent job changes, your sales team or your customer? 8 out of 10 deals stalled last year because customers changed jobs. How do you ensure that your deals don't stall? And then how do you leverage your team's LinkedIn connections? Part of what KnowledgeNet brings to the table is your LinkedIn network as well. KnowledgeNet, quick overview, intelligent knowledge sharing tool that puts the power of AI to work for you. Identify the strengths of your entire company relationships, surface them, even the ones you didn't even know you had, discover powerful insights, and find opportunities of warm introduction. Let's go from the basics. I want to show you the basics, and then I'll move into building pipeline. So the basics here is that, let's say I've been assigned Wendt Partners as a new customer of mine. There's already been hundreds of emails logged from all different contacts within Wendt. How do I prepare myself to understand what those relationships are? I would have to go into every one of these emails that have been logged and expand them and read them and identify what are the strengths of the relationships based off of the email log. Is that accurate, Doug? Is the group concur with that?
Well, I certainly do. Yes. Yes.
So what if I just click this button right here? That's KnowledgeNet embedded within HubSpot, where it shows me instantly all of those relationships that we have with Wendt Partners. So this is my instance of KnowledgeNet. This is Wendt Partners. And what I can see here immediately that there's a large group of people that have been contacted, but the thickness of the lines indicates signals. And those signals are these interaction types: emails, meetings, posts. If the contact is part of the address book, if they've gone to my webpage, I can capture that. And if they're part of my LinkedIn network. So with all of these signals combined, I can see that Doug, as a company, have communicated with the most. That's the person I should probably start with. If I was new to sales, the first email I would write and call would be to Doug to introduce myself. Yeah, so let me go through a couple of these different examples. Like this one would be regarding building pipeline. So with building pipeline, again, this makes warm introductions versus cold calling. It's 98% more effective. It leverages all of your company interactions. It leverages the LinkedIn connections that your sales teams has. And when you're working through those lists, like you talked about, maybe you have an upcoming March conference, you have the attendee list. And if you click on the Chrome extension for KnowledgeNet, on the right-hand side, it pulls up this screen, and then we can look at, in a quick view, any information, visited website, had a meeting on November 1st, information about people that you've interfaced with based on the little lightning bolt. And then I can click on one of these accounts and see the relationships, the interactions, like we had showed earlier. This is now using the Chrome extension, but it's providing tremendous value in building out those warm lists.
Another example is
Xerion Software. I know that we've been communicating with the CEO, but I don't see the CEO listed in here. Make him an additional contact. So I'll create new email. And so now he is an additional contact. If I go to his card and hit the KnowledgeNet link, it has retrospectively, outside of HubSpot, but based off of our email communications, shown me all of the interactions that we've had with Z and the areas and the companies where he can provide warm introductions.
Wow. So two things I'm seeing here. Number one, like you said, if this contact wasn't in the CRM, because not every contact a company does business with is typically in the CRM, right? And also maybe a previous user had them and deleted them. Maybe they were communicating with this person, didn't put them in because they knew they were leaving. There are 1,000 reasons why a contact may not be in the CRM. In the traditional environment, I'm like, geez, I need to put Z in. I put Z in, and then everything starts from there forward, right? It's go forward. You just put Z in, email address, and now you've got this entire history that's now front loaded into the HubSpot environment through KnowledgeNet.
Yep, to help leverage the relationships to light a path to the next deal.
So no more am I showing up and saying, oh, I just met so-and-so, I'll put their business card or an email address into HubSpot, and now I've got to start from scratch. No, I can literally get them in and immediately look at the history of their relationships with my people.
And see relationships that you didn't even know you had, because all those other companies are likely not in the CRM either.
Right.
But now you have a very strong relationship that you're able to leverage and make those introductions to all these potential customers.
Spectacular.
So another place would be deal lists. So you're doing a deal review. I want to show a couple of examples like related to pipeline management. Say my team is saying these deals are going to close this month. I can immediately see, based on our interactions, have there been no communications, but I can give two examples related to multi-threaded versus single-threaded and helping with the pipeline management as a whole. So this account, Reveneer, if I look at it here from this view, the thing that I see is that, yes, there's been some activity, but we are single-threaded.
So there's one person at the other organization that's talked to anybody at KnowledgeNet.
That's right. That's risky for deals. Are they talking to all the decision makers? Is the person signing the deal part of the communication? So is there really validity that this deal is going to close this quarter if we're single-threaded into an account with someone that may not even have signing authority? This is how we do deal reviews at KnowledgeNet. We're leveraging our own technology to find those opportunities. Conversely, there could be something like this co-play opportunity, and I can see that this is different. This one is a multi-threaded opportunity where we have many decision makers that have been involved, and there's very recent activity. There was something that occurred last week. There's a meeting tomorrow. And so this one, as the sales leader, gives me more confidence that this is a multi-threaded engagement and that all the decision makers are at the table. If I go back to these other examples and look at with VCFA, another example where it is multi-threaded, there's recent communications, there's meetings and posts, top decision maker has been involved most of the time. I know about the deal, but it's just getting the light on this multifaceted or multi-threaded communications. If I look at closing business, the technology here with this multi-threaded engagements, ensuring key decision makers are being contacted, this is going to give you a 20, 30x return on your investment. The pricing for KnowledgeNet is $5 to $20 per user per month. So you get all this relationship intelligence that lights the path to more deals. The new deals and closing deals faster will definitely pay for it. I want to share with you how this helps with marketing operations too. If I look at this next example of Compass Group, this one is one that Jen has been working. It is also multi-threaded. You can see here recent emails meetings, posts, but another one here that shows that they've visited our website. I can see sometimes the person, sometimes the company, but I can see when they've visited the website, how many pages they've looked at on the website. Now, with marketing operations being able to leverage HubSpot and web tracking tools to the sales team to give them additional signals that are happening in their sales process to help them close deals faster. And by having a combination of these warm lists that I've talked about, there's a 37% higher retention rate with warm business and a 16% higher lifetime value.
So you've brought up a couple scenarios here. One is starting outreach to a new account, but utilizing any warm avenue that we can. The other is better understanding the history and the diversity of the connections between our company and perhaps an existing customer account. So, for example, one of our priorities this year is to engage in more intelligent and ongoing upsell and cross-sell engagement with clients. I can see that this would be enormously helpful for us to understand, what level of conversation our clients having with HubSpot, what they're having with our team, who on our team, is it one person, is it many? Like for existing accounts as well as new opportunities, this is an incredibly powerful resource that solves for that fundamental problem of how do I begin executing a new business relationship in the manner that's going to be most impactful and most lasting with the right targeted group.
So I have a couple more examples. One of them I want to focus on is knowledge preservation. We talked about the job changes and preserving all the interactions, like you had just mentioned, Doug, is critical, and eliminating loss of relationship connections with job changes help accelerate time to revenue by up to 70%. And that comes from the relationship maps. I want to show one more example. So with the Chrome extension, if you're in any web page and you launch the Chrome extension, it's looking for the domain. So here we can see the relationship map for us with Wendt partners. And if for any reason I had an SDR that was calling on them and had the greatest amount of communication, if Jason were to leave, how do I pick that back up and who do I start with? And now I can see with this knowledge map, all the communications, all the relationship intelligence. A new SDR comes in, they know who to contact. You can see Catherine Moffett has the thickest line. She's the highest ranking person on the right-hand side with the list. So this gives the knowledge preservation, the continuity of business, that even if I were to lose a salesperson or if I lose a customer contact, that other people can be picked up.
That's wow. So many important issues here. Changes on the customer side can be maddening. Because you're right. We've had people reaching out, and unless they get that bounce, which they don't always, you're like, what do I do? Where are we going? Who are we going to talk to? Who else can I reach out to? And you're right. Unless they're in the CRM, which means typically the sales department's talking to them, you're not going to necessarily know. And again, the lack of history, the fact that in the typical CRM scenario, it only begins when someone puts them in, eliminating that barrier and understanding that you've now mitigated risks on both sides of the equation, your team and the client or external party's team. You're overcoming one of the greatest challenges today, which is keeping that continuity of relationship.
Yeah, and with our LinkedIn connection, and we can maybe do a webinar at a later date, Doug, just focused on that, shows where the person has gone to their new job.
Spectacular. This is the kind of stuff that is overcoming the real world challenges that CRM, including HubSpot, struggles to stay up with because the changes are so constant and so rapid. You're literally wrapping around HubSpot with information that now HubSpot has available to it that it desperately needs, which is those changes, those opportunities, those connections on both sides of the equation to keep that relationship running smoothly or expanding as desired.
Absolutely. So I think we touched on this with account management and the importance of preventing relationship decay, ensuring the frequency of interactions, and preventing account churn. We have lots of different list views inside of KnowledgeNet. So I grabbed a screenshot because it was easier just to show here maybe some top priority accounts. Has there been recent interactions with them? Because another statistic statistic, retaining accounts is 8 times less expensive than acquiring new accounts. And I think everybody knows that.
Everybody knows it, but it's devilishly hard to implement sometimes. We learned that this last year. We actually just earlier today, I gave our own, year in review 2022 and our go forward. And one of our priorities is to finally really double down on engaging with clients actively in feedback, retention, upsell, cross-sell, and just discussion, building that relationship. And that decay issue and some of these other issues you're talking about, very, very real. I can think of 5 clients right now where we've struggled because of those kinds of factors.
The goal here is to share with you that knowledge is your superpower. Working in combination with a world-class CRM like HubSpot, adding KnowledgeNet to it will help you find your relationships and opportunities to work, help you close deals faster, close more deals, manage your accounts better. And we live where you work, so it doesn't interfere in having to learn something new. It's embedded in HubSpot. It's in the Chrome example that I showed, and then there's an Outlook plugin so that every email that you send or receive, you would have relationship intelligence insight. This is one I just did a screenshot of. Doug sent me an email this morning, and I can see with my extension what the relationship is with Doug.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize on this slide, Ben. You said it, but I want to double down on it. In the HubSpot environment, HubSpot is a web application that the number one browser that's supported by HubSpot is Chrome. So I'm either in HubSpot in Chrome, or I'm in Chrome doing research and, just like you showed, or I'm in my email, my Gmail, or my Outlook. This is literally the HubSpot CRM users tech stack. Like, these are the places where they are, over the course of the day. 98% of my time, I'm either in HubSpot on Chrome, I'm in Chrome, period, or I'm in my email and calendaring client. That's it. And you've got KnowledgeNet literally at the point of need, automatically available in each of those environments across my activity basis. So I just want to emphasize this is a double win for HubSpot customers. Not only is it living in HubSpot, it's living in all the other places that you're doing your HubSpotting. So it's literally living and making itself available in any context across your workflow. All right. Let me throw this thought on the table because I want to kind of share this with the whole group as we're coming close to conclusion today. What's really important to think about when you're implementing your CRM, when you're implementing HubSpot, or after you've implemented and you're continually trying to enhance what you're able to do with the platform, you have to ask yourself, where are the challenges in my business process? Don't worry about technology. Start with the question of, where can I enhance my business process, or where do I need to? Then the question is, how can we solve that problem? And then we will find the right solution for you. I think that's really important. Ben, you could have just sort of, come into the webinar and said, here's this gee whiz amazing technology. And it is gee whiz amazing technology, but you started with the business problem that we're trying to solve. My gosh. And every one of those I was going, oh, that's a pain point. Oh, that's a pain point. Oh my gosh. Challenges with cold calling, challenges with account continuity, challenges finding the right decision maker or influencer in organizations where there's a lot of change and turnover, or for that matter, M&A activity. Geez, which division of this company that was that company is now part of this one? All these scenarios, not having the history of the data, changes, turnover in the organization, network effect, trying to understand, hey, I've got this relationship that's through this person on LinkedIn, but I haven't seen an email. I wouldn't know that unless I was thinking about what I would have to do to manually KnowledgeNet my account mapping. And I was like, well, 27 hours later, I'd have 3 of them done. And I almost think I want to zero in on the enormous time savings this offers the account executive or the SDR or whoever is the end user in the particular scenario. You've made the technology so visually easy to work with, like it's self-explanatory to a large degree, right? And self-actionable because it's inside the context. I almost think it's easy to go, oh, that's really cool. Next. No, I'm telling you, your sales representatives, your account managers are spending hours trying to do a piece of this today and then just giving up and just brute forcing it. That's what we're all doing, okay? Because we don't have the ability to do that any faster or more effectively. So you've not only surfaced the needle in the haystack, okay, you've saved me the 27 hours it would take to find a couple of needles in 2 haystacks, maybe 3. All right. And as I think about how we want our salespeople spending their day, I don't want them doing that. Very easy to give salespeople instructions and not realize that we haven't equipped them to execute that instruction. Hey, account executives, don't just knock on a door cold. Develop a plan, map the account, find the right relationships. How? That's what you can figure out, right? And then they try, and then they realize there's no way they're going to get their job done because they don't have the time to do it. And so then they just go brute force. All right. And what you've said is, guess what? You can have the efficiency, you can have the effectiveness at both in one environment without having to leave the power of your HubSpot CRM. So yeah, this has been revelatory for me as a CEO, as for me as a sales leader. I hope it's been for everyone here. To think that you are solving for, these aren't just theoretical, like this is not MBA class theoretical business cases. These are like, I feel it right here, keep me up at night levels of pain that we're talking about with these different issues. I can't wait to dig into this further. I'm looking forward to some of the follow-up discussions we're going to have with folks who attended today. Ben, closing thoughts on what you want, 2 or 3 key points you want everyone to walk away with?
I think that just want them to walk away that this is, combines the 2 things. HubSpot, all the data that you have there, let us help you surface it so that your team can save time and help you close deals faster. It's simple to install. You'll have 100% compliance. The 2 things can work together to give you the insights where people live, within HubSpot, outside of HubSpot and Chrome, or through their email.
So Ben, thank you again for joining us today. Thank all of you for joining us today. As you all know, we run these webinars on a regular basis. We love bringing our valued partners to the table. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day as you look for ways to expand and optimize your HubSpot CRM. Thanks again, Ben. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.